Gonzalez to trigger it in. Jewell with his back to the basket, now rotates around Frazier. Lila, guarded by Brown, over to Jewell. Jewell, long two. In and out. Kataguchi gets it up to Nadald. Inside Frazier on Lila and Jewell. Puts it up, no foul. Gonzalez heading the other way. Over to Henderson. Henderson, no hesitation on the three. Off back iron. Kataguchi working against his number 11 wearing counterpart. Brown thought about the three, dribbles in, goes back to the far side. Jamil, wide open corner three. Misses everything. Lila ropes it in.
These two teams have combined 2 for 15 from deep on the day.
Gonzalez to Jewell. Down with Allred. Allred moves inside to Lila. Lila thought about the three, instead he'll get it into Jewell. Backing down Jamil. Gonzalez now contested mid-range jumper and elevates over the much taller Kataguchi.
That's something that really impresses me about Gonzalez's game. He stands only 5'9", and you can really visually tell how much shorter he is than the other players on that field, or on that court rather. But certainly he's got the tenacity, he's got the athleticism to go up and get a board and to make a shot, even elevating over somebody for a jump shot like that. Just a very, very talented young man.
Nadal double dribbled. It'll be Gonzalez to send it into the newly inserted Harvey White back into the ball game. Mavericks only used 7 players at this point, 10 for the Griffins. White to Allred. Alfara back in the contest. Lila trying to drive now. Back to White. White uses a quasi-screen from Allred, and White able to lay it in. Brown and Frazier playing catch, breaking the Maverick press. Nadald now. Tries to go to the corner. Kataguchi, wide open three. Misses off front iron. White's there to reel it in. Kataguchi, an uncharacteristic night. Shoots 47% from three. Tonight, he's just 1 for 3. Allred trying to fake out Nadald. Jewell, mid-range jumper. In and out. Nadald on the board. Trying to push a little pace. Goes back to Kataguchi. Into the corner with Nadald. Nadald immediately double-teamed. Kataguchi, another three. Doesn't go either. Tapped around, stays here. Lila the last to touch it. Field and Allie Lundgren will get some early action as she settles underneath it. Lundgren rolls it to the far side with Ford. And touch almost out of bounds, and Mavericks able to grab the turnover. Monalili couldn't quite get the handle, kicked out of bounds by the Colorado School of Mines, and it'll be Maverick throw, and they try to push a little pace and score early in this one where goals are at a premium, but picked away by Jolie Jiracek. Ordiger's heading the other way, and they're trying to get up to Bella Campos. Sarah Dunn on the run on the far side. And she'll send it back to the keep in Keeley-Wazorek.
Mavericks put a lot of pressure on Fort Lewis early on in the semifinal game on Wednesday evening, and see if they use kind of that same strategy here early on as errant pass goes through the midfield and into the Ordiger defense when Mavericks coming up with it is Parker Mayers.
Mayers almost had a look at it and said it'll be booted deep downfield and headed away by Allie Wachtel. A little bit of ping pong in the midfield before Olivia Barrett will settle behind it and go back to Wazorek yet again. Wazorek goes far side, that's done. She'll work it near side with Wachtel. Wachtel looking for options. A head ball, Spearschneider, the intended target, wanders out of bounds. So we throw in right underneath us with Fuhr. Fuhr looking for options, saying, somebody get open for me. Eventually said head to Campos, and Campos work it back with Annalise Rojo. Turnover for a brief moment. Lozano Monahara has almost got a foot on it. Instead, will be booted deep into the midfield, right over the head of Peyton Bundy. And Dunn has to chase it back with DeBolt in pursuit all the way back to Wazorek for the third time already tonight. And we've just played 2 minutes here at Community Hospital Unity Field. Wachtel Dunn, far side. And Chris, we didn't really hit it in the open, but this game is also massive as far as the NCAA regional rankings go.
Yeah, these two teams, both I would say virtual locks to get in. In fact, I think the field of 6 from this region is completely set before these championship games. But the 2 and 3 teams in the regional rankings coming in, Colorado School of Mines in the number 2 spot, Colorado Mesa in the number 3. This very well could be to determine who gets a first-round bye and the right to host a regional next weekend as well.
Colorado School of Mines, they've had that home field advantage in the regional for quite a few years, and they'll try to put on some early pressure. Dunn heads it away from Campos, right back to Monolilly. Monolilly, lobber into the box to both the intended target, booted out of bounds, and Barrett will settle behind it.
Yeah, the Mavericks have actually
sends it away. Lavolsi receives to Cornell. Cornell near side. That's Huntsman who's blocked. Aisha Allrished gets up.
And that's kind of the energy that they need. Allred now going to get her second block.
Marley Clossy will head back in service yet again. Clossy, the true junior libero / defensive specialist out of Salt Lake City. And Marley lets it fly. Lavolsi to Cornell. Cornell backside. That's Garrettson. Waller makes the dive. Tafoya gives Scoville a good look, and she puts it right off the chest of Bregan Huntsman.
Yeah, and I saw the look in her eyes going up for that. I could have told you that that was coming down as a kill on the book.
Mavericks up 2-0 here early. They are down 1-0. They got to play from behind the rest of the night. Lavolsi receives. Cornejo goes inside. Quick set to Garrettson. Clossy keeps things moving. Tafoya puts it up. Madsen makes the run. Just has to try to hit it where they ain't. Received by Garrettson. Cornejo near side to Huntsman. Huntsman spun over the block.
Nothing you can really do about that there. If you're the blockers, just they put it too high. That's all. Come back and get the next one. As now back to serve.
That's Valerie Shirley. Regularly wears 19. She's a number 2 tonight. For Valerie, the freshman liberos out of Burley, Idaho. Clausy receives. Tafoya tries to dump play. It's blocked. Large Tafoya backside to Allrished. Spins it off the net. There is Shirley. Corneo inside to Huntsman. Blocked again. Corneo will put it up yet again, and that one into the tape. And like PA announcer Justin Choco just said, it's a block party in Bronson, Devin, and I couldn't agree more.
Exactly, and I mean, the issue is that it's for both sides. Mavericks needing to come out with a little bit more tape, getting the assist there on the block.
Aisha Allrished sends it away. Cornejo will eventually get to it up top. Beautiful kill by Killett, but looks like a Maverick stepped over that center.
That's right. It's overtime today. We are here with the newly top-ranked baseball coach in the nation in the D2 baseball poll, Coach Chris Hanks. Coach, thanks for the time. We'll get right into it. Another 4-game sweep. You guys are perfect in RMAC play. What's been leading to that perfection this season?
Well, our pitching's been really strong, the consistency of that. Our defense has been solid and consistent. So I would say, it really starts in those two places.
Now, on that defensive end, too, and this offensive league like the RMAC, how good has it been to have pitchers who can get outs and not really need the ball to get into the outfield where damage can happen, but they're pretty good at rolling down ground balls and letting guys like Kennedy or Joey or Trevor go and make those plays?
Well, good pitching makes everything easier in the game of baseball, and we have good arms, we have great depth. We actually have a depth situation where, we have more guys than there are really innings to pitch, so we have to manage that. But anytime, guys work ahead and force quick outs, it just makes everything easier.
Now, on the offensive side, too, especially in that Friday night game, it looked like we were going to have a pitcher's duel early. Then out of nowhere, you guys come out, score 10-plus runs in what seemed like a blink of an eye. How did that offensive explosion start, and how did you sustain it?
Well, I think that, the longer you see a pitcher, as I say, the longer a pitcher's exposed, and the hitters get to keep seeing him. They get more information. They get their timing down. They understand what pitches the guy on the mound has and what's effective. And so it's a matter of sometimes you have to weather the storm for a few innings till you settle in and hit that flow.
And talking about seeing more of that stuff out of the pitcher, guys at the top lineup like Colby Felix and Ezra Farmer, they're really good at battling into those counts late. How do you kind of coach that mental tenacity to, go through those 8, 9, 10 pitch ABs?
Well, it's a standard we try to set in our program that we ask all players to shorten up their swing, toughen up, especially in situations where we really need contact. And we try to wear that pitcher out. It becomes a battle cry, something that we take great pride in.
Now, outside of the game of baseball, or I guess even going back, recently Sergio Romo nominating you to the Positive Coaching Alliance Game Changer Awards. You go to the Bay Area, get that award. What did that mean for you, for a former player, a 3-time World Series champion player no less, to think about you when he's thinking about guys who've really helped his career?
Well, it was very humbling and very heartfelt. I'm very honored that he chose me. He could have chosen a lot of coaches, and I think that it really. I've been coaching a long time, and you worry so much about wins and losses, but at the end of the day, the thing that is the most lasting for any coach at any level are the relationships that are made along the way with assistant coaches, with other coaches, with your players. And, our job as teachers or coaches is to really create an impact for those that we have the ability to influence or direct, and to find out, I knew that I meant a lot to him. He's let me know that. I just didn't know the extent. And so it validates, why we're in this profession.
Well, and you've been coaching for a long time, at least even at the top of Colorado Mesa here, nearly 30 years. How much of those relationships meant to you, not just as a coach, but also just as a man, knowing there's so many great, fathers and brothers and husbands out there that you had at least a small piece in creating?
Well, when you get into this, we have a kid for a year, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 years. And in comparison to a lifetime, it's a small window of time. So, I think our impact is not just to create an impact for a year or up to 4. It's to create an impact for a lifetime. And it brings home, I think, why people teach and why people coach, or they should. The winning's important and it feels good, and it's more fun when you win, certainly. But the things that are most lasting are those relationships that extend way beyond a player's career.
Now, back to baseball, last question for you. You guys have beaten 29 straight Division II opponents. How do you keep your team locked in the midst of this massive win streak to tell them to keep going out and doing that day in and day out?
Well, we challenge them. We're only as good, and we're only judged on the next game. So we're as good as our next outing, and now it'll be the first game this weekend of the new series. And, we try to make sure that they keep their focus on what's most important, and it's what we do next, and it's the things that we ultimately have the most control over, and that's our actions, our mindset, our preparedness for the next opponent.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time today. That was the new top-ranked baseball team in the nation's Man at the Top Step, Coach Hanks. I'm Dean Allen. That's my time for Overtime.